it's astonishing to believe that it's the 50th anniversary of Linebacker. Ken Burns is doing his documentary on the Vietnam War, but considered to be, it's going to be an encyclopedic look at origins of the war, how it was prosecuted, its aftermath. As a veteran of that conflict, what are the things that you learned through your Vietnam experience that shaped you as a commander, but also shaped you as Chief of Staff of the Air Force?
Yeah. You know, various people have asked me this, Vago, and look, I got to tell you, my first tour over there, I was 26 years old. I had a flat belly. I was invincible, and I didn't care anything about all the political razzmatazz that was going back here. I just wanted to do my job, which was, as a flight lead, take a wingman or 3 wingmen out, take them to the target and bring them back. So what I did get to see there was not the big picture kind of issues, but what I was dealing with were small unit leadership kinds of things. I got to see different flight commanders, flight leads, squadron commanders, DOs, everything, and so you're making there's an impression, you know, and you look and you say, I'd like to be like that guy, or, well, I don't want to ever be like that guy. I want to do, you know, here's a better role model for me. So that's the kind of thing I was really picking up on at that time. When I went back for my second tour, I wasn't that much more, you know, more advanced. I was a major on that tour. I ended up commanding the Laredo Fast Facts. That was sort of my first opportunity, if you will, to have folks working for me in a combat environment. And again, I'm just trying to apply the lessons that I've watched others, if you will, lead. And so it's only later that I begin then to really fully appreciate why it was that there were certain kinds of limitations on us, et cetera. So it's really later in life that I'm able to extract that into more of a strategic sense.
There was a big debate about whether it was all worth it or not, even decades later. As a veteran of that war, was it worth it given how many friends you lost in the conflict?
Well, you have to look at it, I think, on a couple of levels. How did it impact you personally? You know, what was your personal investment in this thing? And the other thing is, I think you have to look at it from a national level. And quite frankly, I happen to be able to look back on it and say, look, think when this started. It really started in the early 60s. And part of the rationale used was this idea that said, you know, there's a domino effect involved with communism. You let this country fall, and the next country's going to be influenced. And so, to a great degree, there's one piece of literature that talks about this that says the net effect, why we really went in there, is to stop the spread of communism, in the sense of the domino effect. And if you think about it from that perspective, and you go back and look, the beginning of the Vietnam War was just about the high water mark of communism. After that, it begins around the world to sort of shrink and eventually end up where it's at. So if you look at it from that perspective, and you're willing to interpret it from that perspective, what it means, and this is extremely important in today's world, is somebody's got to be able somebody's got to be willing, incredibly able, to step up and say, enough is enough. I think we're facing that in North Korea today. I think we face it with Iran. And so the world becomes different when somebody actually acts against evil or aggression and things like that. And so I personally, I know that, you know, we lost a lot of good young men and some women in Vietnam. But when I look back on it, I don't see it so much through the revisionist historian's eyes as I think I see it from a broader sway of history, which said, kind of stopped things at a point.
Well, you got your master's in military history from Duke, so it gives you the big picture look.